Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the channel. As you can see, slightly different camera position, and I can look up towards another screen. The camera's just there, I can look at that. But we're back in the brand new GT Amiga race rig. We are sat behind the Fanatec DD wheel. We've been having problems, but it looks like we're in a world where this is working again. So big props to the guys on the Fanatec forum for making suggestions as how to make a fix. But what we've done is we've rolled the drivers back on the wheelbase to version 4.55. We've restarted. We've then reinstalled the firmware that came with 466. And it looks like we've got a stable wheel. I've run for nearly an hour. I've been off the wheel for an hour and it's still working. So where are we? We're back to the grinds. We are just using the CLK LM 98 I've just seen there around us. That wheel looks absolutely hideous, doesn't it? It looks like it's straight out of one of the 190Es. However, let's get to the track. Here we are at the circuit of Spa. We're picking up the World Touring Car 800. Today's car of choice, as we've already said, is the CLK LM 98. We're going to be on racing mediums. We've got a target of 800 pp and we're at 799.90. Fully customizable suspension, everything default. Fully customizable rear gear. The differential is set to 555. We're at 702 brake horsepower with downforce at the front that's tuned to just make that work correctly. 900 on the rear. Fully customizable ECU at 100, but we've had to drop the power restrictor to 83. We have added 100 kilos of ballast. And we've got the fully customizable racing transmission at 380. It could probably go a little shorter, but I'm thinking try and get a bit of fuel economy out of it. And then you've got to think about traction in the wet. If you've got all that torque, all that horsepower powering first and second gear, it could be a little bit of a problem. So medium RPM turbo, and as we're going to look at here, if I hit that power restrictor, you can see the power curve is really linear. It's almost parallel to the brake horsepower and the torque, and you can see there at roughly the top of the rev range, somewhere around about 7,500 revs, the horsepower and the torque collide. So that's roughly where we're going to be changing gear for maximum acceleration, maximum power through the gear range. And then we're going to try and save some fuel by not over revving up to 9,000 RPM, where the peak power is, but we're trying to match peak torque. We've got no other adds added, so with that it's just the front rear brake balance. I've got it all the way to the front. Let's get to the track. We arrive at the Spa 24 hours. It's the 60-minute race, but it's the 24-hour layout. I've just distributed the schedule for the next Widdowmaker Racing Tour to all the guys. At the end of the day, this is the process we're going to follow now. We're going to finish these grinds off, then we're going to get ourselves to Le Mans, and we're going to run all the same cars through Le Mans, and we're going to try and get ourselves set up for the 24-hour race on the 15th, 16th of June. I'm so stoked that this wheel is going to hold up, or hoping it is. We're just going to see where it goes. There's a few things that don't work now. So the screen display, the LEDs aren't functioning, but I'm hoping they're going to pick those up with the next driver release, and we'll just have to see where it goes. Let's hope it holds together for the next hour. So let's make a start, shall we? Settings will be assist, traction control 1. We're going to go to weak ABS. Weak ABS. We've got counter steering on strong. For the controller settings, we're on controller sensitivity 5. Whether that makes any difference or not, we're just leaving it there for now. Force max torque feedback is on 3 and force feedback sensitivity on 10. Right folks, let's get on with it. Let's go. So we haven't done one of these in a couple of weeks because of where we've been with the process, but let's see how we go. See if we can get up the inside of Mr. Nostro. No, we can't. Just have to check the brake. Rev our way through the rev range. We can see the car holds up about 8,000 RPM. Get up the inside of Mr. Kawakami if we can. No. Now this feels absolutely sublime after a couple of days on the G29. We are on top of this now. This isn't the wheel that's doing this. This is the car. This car is phenomenal. It is a tremendous race car with its own history. It's got a bit of a clouded history as well. If you remember, was it Roland Ratzenberger that flipped this on the end of the Mulsanne Straight? It was quite a stunning event. He was lucky to walk away, but I think it happened twice as well. So whilst it's a fantastic car, this car also has a place in my slot racing history. This was one of the Ninko cars that I used to really enjoy. But let's get back to Gran Turismo. So we've got 12 laps of fuel roughly at this point. Around the outside. Oh, I wonder what opening lap time we're going to get. Oh, the RX Vision just giving us a little bit of a tap as we come in there. And I've got the wheel settings. I'm on AS2. This is a set of settings given to me by Sam as a set to test out and see how I feel. And I can throw the steering wheel left and right. It's nice and lightweight. I can respond to the inputs of the wheel, the feedback, and whatever I feel. If I need to counter steer, I can throw the wheel left or right. Is absolutely where it needs to be. Brakes respond beautifully to inputs. 11 laps of fuel left at this point. Front tyres, rear tyres looking fairly evenly balanced. Opening lap time a sub 2 minute. That's pretty decent. So what we're looking for a lap 2 is somewhere around about 2:10. A sub 2:10 would be even more epic and would just highlight this car as a very capable. And we just got to hope it gets a decent weather so that it can put in some real lap times. We are chugging our way through this lap. We're up to 5th place. Only 6 seconds behind the leaders. Mr. Hizal out front. We can actually see the full leaderboard from where we are now, can't we? Hizal leading the race, Mirzano second, Beauvoir 2 cars in front of us in 3rd, Mr. Fraga in 4th, we're in 5th, Yamanaka 6th, Lopez in 7th, Mr. Grady in 8th. Absolutely flying. There's Hazal as we make it into 2nd. Just stab that brake at the end. Oh, we almost get cut out of it. Oh, there's a 2:13 lap time. We've got to go a little bit quicker to really make some records, haven't we? Let's see if we can get it down into the 2:10s. It would be really nice. Mr. Hizal just covering the racing line there. We managed to get away with no damage. We just bumped up to his rear, but let's see if we can get some decent laps in before the rains arrive. We're not an ABS week, we're an ABS normal or default for now. Just got to work ourselves into this. The real testing. If this wheel sticks out for this hour, then we're into the real testing zone, really getting this together and see how it goes. I know now the G29 and the DD are just so light years apart. My G29 is sloppy. The wheel centre is not defined. You can't. There's lots of left to right in the centre of the wheel, so it's sloppy. You turn the wheel a bit, nothing happens, and that's probably me exaggerating, but that's how it felt when I went back to it over the last couple of days. Absolutely, just so lack of accuracy. Now what I've got coming back through here, through the wheel, is some, they call it detail. I can feel the road vibrations, ding, 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 a little bit left, a little bit right. It dunks, I can feel it through my fingers. It's quite stunning. That would transcribe as rattle, I think, in the G29. So there's a 212. That's 1.2 seconds quicker than the last lap. See if we can really put a little gain in here, getting through Eau Rouge. See if we can really thump our way through. Just looking up at the screens above to make sure everything's in order. Oh, that's going to be some penalties. That was pushing too hard, wasn't it? There we go, 1.5 seconds. Well, we've got to do better next lap because we want that lap record. Fuel looks decent as the sun starts to lower in the evening sky. It's late afternoon. We've run off the track a couple of times already, haven't we? I feel this car could probably do with the weight moving forwards just a little bit, or more downforce on the front to try and give it that bit of traction. Look, it just washes out just a little bit. That could be ABS, I suppose. Braking, me trying to drive too hard, so ABS weak probably is where we need to be. 1.5 seconds up, that's tremendous. 13 seconds of the lead over Mr. Hizal. Let's see if we can get this next lap right. Just be a bit more reserved through the bottom of Eau Rouge. There we go. That last lap at 2:13, just into the 13s with a 1.5 second penalty. That would have almost have been, well, I think it would have definitely been a new lap record for the race. Right, let's control ourselves through Eau Rouge. As we start coming up the hill, let's just back off a bit here. Here we go. .3 laps of fuel. Braking just before the 100. Half a second up on the purple. Go, pushing on. Almost a second up. That'll put us into 11s. So as we rattle through these corners, the fastest part of the circuit apart from the long straight into bus stop. I can feel vibrations through the back of the seat. The wheel transmits rumble. There's a 2:10.824. That is a stunning lap. So we're looking for a sub 2:10. What's our chances as the evening starts to lengthen, the shadows start to roll across the track? That feels quicker. Fuel is down to almost half. Tyres are down to almost half. I'd say more like 35%. Mr. Grader goes to the pits. We're almost a whole second up. So here it is. The dusk is upon us. Twilight, or whatever you want to call it. Reaching out to try and pull that 209. This will be the fastest car we've ever brought to this little test. Only fitting for when the Fanatec DD comes alive and starts to demonstrate what we're capable of. Over a second quicker at this point. Just lifted the throttle as we push it through that corner. I say that corner, I should know them by now, shouldn't I? Well, my brain's a shed. A 209.888. There she is. The fastest single lap car used in any of these tests. Sub 209. Is there a 208 before the world collapses and the rain comes in? We have got rain. It's appeared at the bottom of the screen, so we've just got to be aware of where that's coming from. Right, I'm going to have a look down there and see. It looks like we're going to have to go in this lap, but I'm not wholly sure of what sort of rain that's going to bring. Mr. Fraga has gone in on his softs. Mr. Portilla's also gone in, but he's gone in for fuel, look. And as we come round, nightfall is now upon us. We have the full headlights ablaze. We have rain coming in. It doesn't look too bad. I don't know what to do at this point. Is there another lap in it? I think I'm going to try another lap. A 2:11.7. Rain's about to start. We're 42 seconds ahead of Mr. Hizal. Have they pitted? Wow. Just goes to show just how fast this car is. Fuel is dropping now down to 30-odd%. Those lights shining across the track are really, really effective on those corners. Definitely a track that was designed for the 24-hour event. Itchy end of my nose, and no microphone involved, because we're on the old microphone, as he just had a moment's thinking that the actual microphone wasn't working, and we can only hope that we are, but here we go. Yeah, I'm talking to the microphone and it is definitely registering. It's the rig mic that isn't. It gets that big microphone out of the reach of the arms. Here's the rain, and I think we might have just timed that right, or timed that well enough to get us into the pits and get some tyres on as we just come round to lap the first car. I don't know whether to go inters or just keep going. We're going to just go in, and I think we need to go on to the inters. I'm going to take the fuel. Oh my. We need to. Panic stations. Half-worn tyres in the rain. Very, very difficult to make that call. I think we're doing the right thing. Take the inters. Think about the victory. Think about the whole shot rather than just what's available now. So if it's a 2-stop at 41.52, we're on our way to doing what we need to. Let's look at the rain as we come out. It'd be really nice to see the rain gauge as you're in the pits, just to see how things are developing. 58 seconds in the lead was the last port of call. The rain is definitely away from the race tyres. Inters is definitely the tyre of choice. It shows that we're 58 seconds ahead. It looks like the mass of the field are going to be taking tyres as well. Just got a power off warning on my monitor. Need to turn that off. We just overshot a margin, but we'll get that back on the track. These headlights seem very dim, don't they? I don't think we could have carried on with the race tyres. I think it was the right thing to do. Just lock up a fraction coming into there. There's a set of headlights in front of us. There's a bit of chopping and changing at the front. We're 1 minute 1 second ahead. Mr. Ordonez in last place. He's just going to make way for us to come past. There we go. These headlights are pretty shonky, aren't they? They're not brilliant. Oh, we've gone really wide. We're able to keep the power down though, twice. we're going to get penalised for that big time. Yeah, 1.5 seconds. Kept the toe in. The rain isn't backing off at all. Can't see the apex with these headlights. That's terrible. So let's power on. 20 minutes has now passed of the race. We're a third into it. 8 hours has passed. There's Mr. Portilla just completing his second stop. Pick up his draft. Mr. Solis, we're going to dive on his inside. Going to brake at the 150. This rain's really come at the unfortunate time for this car. The other fastest car, the current leader of the league table is the Peugeot 908, and it was lucky enough to do it on a one-stop. I think this car would probably have the fuel to very almost make it a one-stop. We'd probably have to run fuel map 4 or 5. Lucky to hold that. Wowzers, that looked very panics. Mr. Grimsdale. So just as we're going through a real jittery point, let's have a talk about what we've done with these drivers then. So I'm about to post up when I've completed this and finished this testing phase about what I did on the Fanatec forum and give people a hope. What I didn't realise is reinstalling the firmware drivers or doing a firmware management update after you've rolled back the drivers. That was the key bit. Reinstall the firmware, and that's what's made the difference. Roll back the wheelbase driver and then reinstall the firmware drivers. It looks like the rain is starting to back off a little bit, but we do have some heavy stuff about, so these inters are just going to keep us chugging along. We're 1 minute 11 ahead of Izal. Mr. Bishop in second, Boubois fourth. Sorry, Mr. Bishop in third, Boubois fourth. Gallo is down the bottom of the pack. Mr. Miazano in 5th, Yamanaka 6th, Rubilar 7th, Mendoza in 8th, just as we try and get the slipstream there off Miss McEwen. We come up to the back of this Ford that's got some really bright lights illuminating the back of the car. There's some strong rain out on the right hand side, isn't there? Out to the east there in the yellow. You can see that. McEwen's come past Wilk as well. And we're just about to get a bit of a splander of rain. A splander? Oh, I don't know what the hell that is, but it works. Heavy stuff. Oh yes, that's torrential. Just get the car up to a gear where the wheel spin is limited. Short shifting is a sense of what we're trying to do. Short shift. This car doesn't have massive power. I mean, 702 brake horsepower in something that probably weighs a ton or so. Oh my lord, we slid through there, didn't we? As we come out of that rain cloud, the water level's gone up. Lap times have dropped. Oh, it's just throwing it round that corner. But the water depth is tremendous. It really is up there, on its way to wet tyres. But we're not going to go for wet. Ooh, yeah, we probably should, as we make our way to the pit lane exit. We're about to get another thunderous chuck down, a splendour of rain as it arrives. What's a splendour? It's like a splashdown and a gander. Let me look at that rain. There it is. So the wheel set has now been working operational in excess of 2 hours as we run off the track. Oh yeah, the wet water it's up there, isn't it? The water depth. It looks like wets are going to be the next tyre of choice. Oh yeah, as we run wide onto the apron there. Hopefully that rain will just back away now. Just guessing where the track is really in this darkness. The lights on this car really are probably the worst thing about it. There we go, the end of the rain is in sight now. We have got small evidence of tyre wear to the rear and to the front. We had no conscious thoughts about reducing power map or fuel map in the rain. The car proves it's capable as we're approaching the halfway stage. 31 minutes 30 seconds remaining, minus a few seconds for seeing it and saying it. Now for those people that notice a difference between the camera of me and what we used to have, this camera lens has the ability, well, it's got a fisheye in it basically. Everything's a little bit closer in this rig than in the other one, so when I use my old camera it brings me far too close, far too full in the image. So this new camera here is slightly better quality. It has some optimal options that allow you to do some stuff with the image. So we're just testing that out. We could bring myself a little bit closer if we wanted to again. We could also probably drop myself a little bit, the camera angle just a smidgen, if we were to mount the camera slightly differently, which I think I want to do. Because I've now got a monitor above this one that I'm looking at, which is the overhead view that I look at every so often, and you'll see my eyes lift up to look at it. Well, that's a monitor that I'm going to have all the chat on, etc. Maybe it's definitely going to be the screen that I have the video editing software on, OBS, for those of you that know the software. It's the streaming software. It allows me to watch what the feed is going out. And when we get the full 4 monitor set up, I'll have the chat windows to left and right, so I'll see Twitch and YouTube on their own screens, and we'll be able to make them so they're just in my eye line, so if I look left and right with my eyes I can see the chat. So the end of the weather is just with us now. The clouds are just passing overhead. You see the night sky is illuminated, the whiteness of the cloud is definitely there. Mr. Lopez, we're just gonna, just struggle to get around you. So halfway we get we've completed 13 laps. We just get a penalty for transgressing the white lines there. Lap time's really quite slow in the 2:30 region, but what can you expect? We've took the car itself to a point where it gives us a shot at the 26th, maybe the 27th lap if we can. I'd like to think it's highly capable of that 27, even on a 2-stop. We'll have to try and run this as long as we can on this fuel. It would only be 7 minutes longer required to get it to the point where we can do another stop, but we have to watch out for the second bout of rain that generally tends to come just as we're about to shed this 30 seconds of penalty. 30 seconds, half a second of penalty. Wow, half a minute. So the rainwater now, depending on where you are on the track, is just coming to where the race tyres are now preferential again on the racing line. So we're going to have to start thinking about keeping these tyres cool. We're going to start to see a dry line appearing, aren't we? We're 1 minute 49 ahead of Hizal. There's some traffic ahead, look. That looked like the tail lights of Mr. Wilk. Mr. Cookabun. I'm going round your outside. That definitely looks like Mr. Wilk again. Look at that big illumination at the back of that car. I don't know whether that's really good headlights of the car behind or what. Broadsided by Mr. Tidgney. Mr. Grady, to be honest. We shouldn't call him out with his real name. That wouldn't be fair, would it? So that rain disappears off to the northwest quadrant. We can see it go in there. It's just disappearing off the screen now. We're waiting for the next rain to come. The rear tyres are starting to show some heat, but we've got the traction back in these intermediate tyres. Mr. Frager in 8th. We're just about to start lapping those boys. Are they about to start pitting? That's the question. See if we can get the overtakes made. They're just going to squeeze me there. It's 3 overtakes through that part. Oh, around Robillard and Boubois. Weren't waiting for them to make way, were we? They're all coming round. Nobody's going to the pits. Not just yet. Running the car wide and along in the cool wetness. Trying to keep the tyres cooled down so the rubber blocks don't melt away. Here's Arno overtakes Fraga now. There's a pair of headlights just ahead. Looks like our Spanish friend in 20th place. It is, it's Mr. Ordonez. He's about to get lapped for a second time as the morning sun rises in the east. Bright sunshine sweeps across the nighttime situation here at Spa. Out of the darkness comes the light. Not these headlights, they're pretty poor, I must admit. Definitely a dry line of rearing. These tyres are just showing on the rear just how quickly they can cook up and run away. Mr. Hizal just in front of us goes to the pits off his inters. As we shoot through, pick up a penalty. Can we get back to the pit in and take a set of race tyres? It might be the wrong thing to do, but now's the time, I think. 20 minutes? It's 22 minutes to go. We're going to take all the fuel. See if we can get to the end. We might have to pit again for tyres. We might do. Not entirely sure those rears have got a massive amount of life left in them. It's going to be tricky coming out the pits. But if we can then get onto the race line, stay on the race line and not get them wet, we've got the chance to put some real quickie laps in on these mediums. Mendoza's in second, 2:38 back, then Rublar, then Fraga. So a few people have pitted, that given Fraga to get back up. Very wet in the pit straight, in the pit exit lane. Nobody coming up the hill. Oh, just as we hit the white line there. Tremendously deep water. And there's rain in the bottom right hand corner. That's not what we wanted to see. Try and keep off these curbs if we can. Now the other interesting bit of news, folks, whilst I've been off for the week, off for the week. I haven't. I've been frustratedly smashing away at trying to get this wheel working and doing other bits and pieces for the ambassador piece. Is and I've completely forgotten what I was talking about. The other thing that I've done this week is what I was talking about, and I've still forgotten. Brain's just a mess. Ooh! Just as we think we're talking about the stuff we need to talk about, wheel spin, traction controllers cut in, couldn't get any power down. Right, what was I trying to tell you about? My brain will work it out in a minute. It's all gone a bit confusing. I was definitely thinking of something I was trying to tell you about. Something to do with what was going on this week. Still a bit wet for these tyres, isn't it really? There's room for Mendoza. He makes it out. 2:11 ahead. That's what I was talking about. So, the other thing I've got to tell you about, whilst I've been busy doing a lot of things this week, I also realised I only had 14 cars left to buy. As it stands now, I have one left. Realising that not every car I needed to purchase was 20 million. Well, in fact, it turns out some of the cars weren't actually 350,000. So we have one more car to buy. It's an Aston Martin, and we're going to do that once we've got the money. I think it's 3.5 million. I'm down to like less than 1 million. So the grind is essential. The grind is important. But we've done it, folks. We are at the point of 100% game completion. We've got gold medals in everything. We've got the platinum trophy. It's not technically true though. We've got to buy one more car. But I also don't own every car, because I've sold a couple to try and generate cash to buy cars as they came up in the process. But as it is, the way it's going to work is now cash is just going to build, because we don't really have anything to spend it on unless we're going to go and buy multiple cars. But we're then at a point where we haven't got much all else to do. Okay, let's have a look what this rain's doing now. That rain has just, only half the cloud has shot up the page, hasn't it? If that's all we're going to get, this is a dry run to the end. So we've got 6 laps to do in 16 minutes. 7 laps to do in 16 minutes. There's a chance. We're on the racing mediums. Let's fingers crossed this rain is going to give us the opportunity to really start to knock out some laps. Get some 2:10 laps in again. That would be excellent if this track would just dry out and this rain would not be heavy. If it's just cloud cover, we're on for a good one. 26 laps for this car would be a real just reward for its capability. And again, the driver has made some mistakes, so we can't hold that against the computer car, can we? Mr. Ordonez again, and feels like we're overtaking him every 3 minutes, but I think because of the pit stop he just dropped back again. Yeah, so one more car to buy. And we're there. And we're going to start to enjoy the equipment again. Start to really get into it. Start to learn what we've got. Try and improve on where we are. Whoa, I've done exactly the same thing again, haven't I? Just overrun onto that. And I've got to spin this round. Get to overtake Mr. Ordonez again. I just ran out onto that curb, didn't we? Continuing to put in the 2:30 lap times, which isn't good. It's not great for this car for me to diminish it by being a bit of a rubbish driver. So Mendoza pits. So we're just at the point of putting them guys behind us now. Unless we're already behind us and we're now just gaining on them. The end of this cloud is imminent. There's a chance we could get a quite heavy splash at this point, but so the new content's going to begin for the live streaming. We're going to start to be doing all the tests to see the difference between the G29 and this wheel, to see if we can improve on the license tests all the way through. See if we can get our way back up the leaderboard, start to try and get into the top 1 or 2. I know we've got to compete with Sam, so there isn't much chance of getting the top 1. But where we haven't got in the top 10, we would hopefully be into the top 5 with this new equipment. Here's that little splash of rain we were kind of anticipating. Already the intermediate tyres are the tyres of choice. It's so wet out here. Are we going to get reset or smashed with a huge penalty for that? The track got so wet so quick, didn't it? Look. The quick laps just aren't going to come at this moment. We've had an off in every one of the last 4 laps. And this is something to watch out for at Le Mans. If you're trying to make a gain, get an advantage, dry lines back, that's good. Come on, 5 laps in 11.5 minutes. Let's get on to the 26th lap. Let's see if we can get this car there. It needs it. Let's put ourselves to the test. Let's see if we can get this to 26 laps. Come on. We know we've got the fuel. The rain isn't gonna... Yeah, we've got the fuel. We're definitely on for the fuel. The rain isn't gonna come back. Come on. 26 laps is the target. It's going to be very close. I mean, 25 laps isn't a slow car, but there's only one car that's done 27 and it got the benefit of the rain. It didn't get much rain. If we can get these laps back down into the 2:12s, we would be good. So the guys have gone back to the pits. They've got their race tyres on again, so the race is back on. They've got rid of the intermediates, so we're definitely drying out. There's no more rain due to come. let's push on. Oh, there's spray in front of me. Who's that? Somebody's keeping their inters cool. These medium tyres are now starting to show a bit of heat. Mr. Solis, Mr. Kawakami and Mr. Gallo, 17th, 18th and 19th, all running together, all aiming for the pits. Can't believe they tried to all barrel straight into the pit lane together, the two of them. That was shocking. So what do we do there? A 2:17. That's not really where we need to be. 9 minutes remaining. Come on, let's go. Let's get that lap time down. We want at least 5 seconds off that lap time. Seven and a half laps of fuel is plenty. Mr. Inestroza. Just got to bully you out the way, I'm afraid. Keep off the curbs, Widow. That was wheel spin that induced that rev out. Did the same thing again. I've got to stop using the curbs, but I'm just running the natural line, and the racing line is almost dry again. Almost. In certain parts of the track it almost is. Minutes 22. Desperate to get that 26th lap. Just lifted there so I don't spin like I've done multiple times. Does that look like Mr. Fraga up ahead? Mr. Wilk blasted past him again. Mr. Hizal in second place. Mr. Grady in third. He's done well. Probably benefiting from pit stops, but Mr. Bishop into fourth. Miss McEwen in fifth. That's an excellent result, what looks like to be. And then we've got Mr. Mendoza in sixth, Mr. Boubois seventh, Mr. Lopez in eighth. That was Mr. Rubilar gone. We're back up to lap these boys again. Mr. Hizal's gone to the pits to take off his inters. Mr. Grady then assumes second place. Mr. Bishop goes to take off his inters. 5 minutes 10 remaining. Miss McEwen's gone in on it mediums. She's looking for fuel, I'm guessing. That's going to put her down the pack a bit. Here's Boubois and Mendoza. No, it's not. It's Ordonez. For probably the 5th or 6th time we've overtook him. There's Mendoza going to the pits. So the leaderboard's taking a bit of a shuffle again. 4 minutes 44 remaining. There's a chance of getting to lap 26. That was a 2:16 that lap time. We really need that to come down. Half a tank of fuel remaining. The track is now drying out, but it's not dry everywhere. That was Mr. Bishop, I think. This could be Mr. Hizal. Lapping for the second time. Go. 3 minutes remaining, which means this last lap is going to be really tight. To try and get lap 26. It's still not 100% dry, look, it's wet in places. We're going on to lap 25. We've done enough, I think, to get that lap 26, so back into the 2:13s. Fastest lap of the race is ours at 2:09. So if you think how many spins I've had, how many penalties, the rain sessions, the 3 stops we've done. We are we on 3 stop or 2 stop? We put the inters on and then we went back to dries. We've actually done a 2 stop. And we're about to hit lap 26. We've lapped the entirety of the field, I believe, at least twice. This puts this car up amongst the top 5, definitely, in all conditions. Slight overrun of the braking zone there, dropped me out to the wet patch. Into the final minute. Tyres are looking good. Short shifting to try and get some assured grip. This sun really hasn't dried the track out. We've still got this wet patch either side the racing line. The racing line's dried out nicely, but you can't stray from it. So as a somewhat of a celebration then, we're coming round, 17 seconds remaining. We're going to get onto that final lap, the 26th lap, not the 27th, but as proof and as evidence, we have had an hour's running of the wheel. It's up and running, it's away, it's absolutely brilliant. I am so over the moon. Just got to keep it going now. I'm not too fussed about losing all the functions in the wheel, like the colours on the LEDs, etc. They can wait. As we say, it's quite clear that Fanatec have got some work to do, and they're doing it. And I've not been too kind to Fanatec over the last 10 days or so. I know I've been extremely frustrated with the process, but the clock has finished. Just Grady left running on the track now from the leaders. How far ahead has Grady managed to get? Mr. Solis just not happy about us forcing our way past. He's not got the pace to keep up. Grady is probably chasing us through as well, so you can see the cars on the overhead map doing their slow follow out lap. They're warmed down, taking the applause from the crowd as we come through into the bus stop for the final time. Through the last two corners, driving for the line to take the victory. 26 laps complete, fastest lap at 2:09 888, and there she is, and the wheel lasted the entire length. Happy with that, really happy with the new setup, and now we can start to enjoy the rig and really get stuck into it. But what a tremendous car, what a really good car, only let down by the driver and the conditions. But 26 laps, fastest lap at 2:09 888, 2 laps ahead of Mr. Grady, but lapped everybody else 3 times, including Mr. Ordonez, who was lapped 4 times. And there we have it, the bank's balance goes to 2.7 million. We still need more to get that final car. But there you have it, folks. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll see you on the next one. All the best, take care, goodbye for now.